build a solid financial foundation? Building a solid financial foundation is comparable to building a house. When you build a house, you do not start with the roofing first or the interiors first. When you build the house, you start with the foundation first, the concrete slab, and then the walls where the entire house will be mounted onto. Pretty much like a solid financial foundation, you do not start with investing immediately, because if you did, then your financial situation will not be so sturdy and reliable and established. And therefore, in this video, we shall talk about the pillars, the 4 pillars to build a solid financial foundation. Hello everyone, this is Ricey and welcome to my channel. The first pillar that we shall talk about is protection. Protection is the very basic pillar that we have to establish. Protection is normally is in the form of insurance. When you talk about insurance, there are various forms of insurance. There is the life insurance that covers you and your family on certain occasions such as untimely death. You have the health insurance, which covers you and your family when you have some medical circumstances. You have also the automotive or the car insurance. Of course, you already know about this if you ever happen to come across a certain problem with your car or on the road. And you also have the house insurance to cover the health and maintenance of your house or your property. Could it be your residential or property income? Nevertheless, all of this insurance are designed to cover you and protect you and your family in circumstances that are not expected, in such a way with little money that you pay on a monthly basis, you are covered, and if anything happens, you do not have to dig into your pocket if ever you needed to pay extra, or if anything happens to you on certain occasions. So protection, cover yourself in certain untimely, unexpected situations, and have insurance established. The second pillar when it comes to building a solid financial foundation is debt management, or shall I say debt management. It could also be death or debt, because you will die if you do not manage your debt. That is for sure. Many people, and I do know personally, a lot of them are indebted up to their eyeballs. They can hardly breathe, and having so much debt really is a very cumbersome situation. It takes so much toll on your health, on your physical health and mental health, on your life, on the various aspects of your living, even with your family. So manage your debt. There are various ways to manage your debt. You have to truly evaluate and understand how much money you actually owe. One fundamental way to manage your debt is to have a list of the actual debts that you have. How much exactly did you borrow at the beginning? How much do you have to pay as interest? And how much more do you have left to pay for this debts? Understanding how many institutions do you owe money from, and how many people do you owe money from. Tally them up, sum them up together, and then have, by doing that, you have a good understanding. You will have a good understanding of how much exactly do you have to pay with the actual amount borrowed, as well as with the interest. And then make a plan, make a solid plan that within 12 months you should have already paid 50% of these debts, let's say, or even 75% of these debts. You can start with the lower amounts of debts that you have going up, so then that's the lower going to the higher amounts of debts. Or you can also do it in such a manner wherein you start with paying the ones which has got higher interest, going down to the ones with a lower interest. Now, the key is to pay off as many debts as possible. So if you have got $100 on one institution, and then $500 on one institution, and then $5,000 in the other institution, I would bet that it will make sense for you to pay off the $100 first, because that's the easiest one to pay, and then the $500, and then the $5,000. In such a way, it is faster for you to tick off as many debts as possible. So there, manage your debt, and please, please do not take one loan to pay off another loan, because that's just suicidal. Because if you do that, then that's just double the amount of interest that you will be paying. Do not do that. Pay your debt with your income. You may do a side hustle. If you have to do a side hustle, do it. You will not do that side hustle for the rest of your life. If you plan to do the side hustle just as so you can pay as much debt, as many debts as possible, the fastest, quickest time, then do it. But do not take another loan or another debt to pay one debt that you have had in so many years. And another thing is, if you have to cut on your expenses, then do it. You just have to do it. You may not need, or you may end up not buying that Tim Hortons coffee every day or every week, but that's okay. You're not going to do it for the rest of your life. It's a compromise. Do not purchase things that are necessary, that are not necessary, because those things will only further dig you deeper into your debt annihilation. So manage your debt as quickly, as fast as possible. Your wallet will thank you for it. So now you have established a coverage or protection for you and your family, and then you have done your debt management, or at least you are close to closing that gap on your debt and paying off your debt, most of them, a majority of them. Then we go on to our third pillar, which is emergency fund. Emergency fund is absolutely fundamental as well, because with the emergency fund, you have got the fund to cover yourself in terms of emergencies. As easy as that. This fund essentially covers you for expenses that are not expected and are not covered by your insurance. Because if you do not have an emergency fund, you will end up getting into debt again, or you will end up taking out your investment. So emergency fund is crucial and integral to the foundation of your finances. So how much emergency fund do you think is necessary? It really varies from place to place, from person to person. If you're a single person, if you're a person with a partner or a family, it really depends. If you rent your own house, or you own your own house, or if you have a car, it truly depends. But for me personally, I have an emergency fund that will cover me for 8 months. So that's 8 months worth of expenses. Now, it could be different from country to country as well, because here back in July 2020, I lost my job because of the COVID scenario. Now, the situation here in Canada is we are covered with employment insurance, wherein if a person loses his or her job at no fault of hers or his, then automatically there is the employment insurance. And I was covered for more than a year of employment insurance. So that was a huge help. So if you are a person in such the same situation, then 3 months worth of emergency fund could be sufficient. But if you do not have such the same situation, then 8 months really is something that would make sense, most especially if you have children who are little and just would not use the toilet but still use the diapers because they do not feel comfortable using the toilet. You know how expensive the diapers nowadays are. But personally, I do not know because I don't have a kid. But from the people that I know personally, they tell me that diapers and milk is very expensive, and therefore, if you have a family and you have children, at least have 8 months, or if you can do it and extend it up to 12 months, even better, even better. But if you are only a couple, or if you are only a single person, then 6 months would potentially be, or to my mind, it makes sense. 6 months is also a good emergency fund. So there, have an emergency fund, and keep it there as an emergency fund. You do not touch that money to buy a car, or to buy a Gucci shirt, or a new pair of sneakers. You do not. That's your fund for emergencies. So we have reached the fourth pillar in the building, or in the process of building a solid financial foundation. So we have had the first one, which is protection, the second one, which is debt management, and the third one, which is emergency fund. So establishing your emergency fund. Now, once you have established all of these other three pillars, and then we go to the fourth one, which is investment. Yes, investment. So once you already are certain that the other three pillars are stable and established, and then this is the perfect time, and this is the only time that you should start with investing, because then, even in scenarios of emergencies, unforeseen situations, you are covered, and you would not need to touch or spend or withdraw your investment in cases that you have unexpected expenses. Now, one thing you have to understand as well is that investing is not just in the equities, or not just the stock market. All right, so you do not only have, or focus, or enclose yourself in the idea that you invest automatically in the stock market. No, it could be a property investment, such as rental income investment. It could also be an angel investment, where it could also be an online investment, wherein in the form of commodities, you can buy minerals such as Ethereum, silver, gold in the market, and keep those investments. It could also be bonds, or T-bills. There are various ways to invest your money on. It could also be putting up a business, wherein you will fund the business, and you will have somebody that you trust, of course, to operate the business, and you will be the financier, shall we say. There are various ways to invest. It's not just the stock market. For me personally, 70% of my investments are in the property market, and I am trying to further enlarge that percentage, and 30% are in the, or is in the equity or the stock market, and these investments I manage myself. I am into passive investments in the stock market. So there you have it, the four pillars to establishing a solid financial foundation: protection, debt management, emergency fund, and investments. When you follow, and if you follow this pyramid, these four pillars, you are certain to have a very solid, sturdy, and reliable financial foundation, not only for yourself, but your family as well. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you are getting value on the videos that I post, please consider to subscribe and like the videos.